All right, there we go. So, the lymph. I know you've all done a lymph class with me before, but remember there's, just a few very specific things to remember that are just good to know about your lymph. First of all, much of your lymph is very superficial in your body. It doesn't have to be this like deep massage work. Light touch on the body can be very helpful for the lymph. And you have, nodes, obviously, that live all throughout your body, and they tend to live in the pits of your body. So your armpits, kind of the pits of your neck, your groin, behind your knees, in your elbows, all the little kind of nooks and crannies. So when we move joint spaces and open up all of those kind of areas where the lymph tends to congregate in nodes. It can be very helpful for moving the lymph. So just joint mobilization, period, can be very helpful. Doing things like going for a walk, anything that's just going to be consistently moving your body, getting your heart rate up a little bit, not extreme, but just a little bit upward, and general movement can be helpful when you're trying to build up your lymph and get it moving well. So the other thing to remember is that lymph, not only does it like movement, but it likes warmth. So if you do feel like you're coming down with something, or you want your lymph to be moving well, put a scarf on, put a sweater on, like put some socks on, like make sure that the parts of your body that tend to get cold are warm. And then the last is to just remember that, right at our collarbones are the end terminals for all the lymph in your body. So everything drains in one direction toward your collarbones. So from your head down, from your arms in, from your feet up. Okay, so everything ends here. It's not a circulatory system like your cardiovascular system. So if you're ever doing self-massage, and we'll do some of this today, everything moves toward the heart. If you're doing some movement to kind of move lymph, you want to move it toward the heart. And then just like if you've ever had long hair or have brushed long hair, you can't brush out hair from the top to the bottom if there's knots. So you have to start at the bottom and work your way up to the top of the hair. And this is the same with lymph. So you don't want to start at your feet and drag all of it up. You want to kind of do some work higher and then move down, but keep the stroking up toward your heart. So if you're doing some dry brushing with like a loofah or a brush, remember to have the strokes, start closer to the endpoints, going in that direction, and then slowly moving further away, but still keeping the strokes toward the endpoints. So, you're not starting at the foot and going up, you're starting here and then moving down the leg, but the strokes are all going up. So just in general, if you're doing some self lymphatic massage in, either with a dry brush or just with your hands, this can be a very helpful technique to kind of keep everything moving toward these endpoints at your collarbones. Okay. All right. So everything today will be about that, opening and closing of joint spaces, getting some fluidity in our mobility, and bringing ourselves into our breath. So let's begin by closing your eyes and sit up straight and tall. And if you are feeling under the weather, at any moment, at any time, you can just lie down and give yourself some nurturing, healing breath. All right, so as you close your eyes, bring yourself into your breathing body. Notice where your breath is traveling in this first awareness. You don't need to change anything just yet, but just be aware of how the breath is moving. Feel a sense of surrender through your face, your skull, the base of your skull, your throat, your jaw, your tongue. Try to relax everything in your head. Soften your shoulders down away from the ears and Align the spine well. And return your awareness to the breath again. And this time, let's begin to deepen. So just feeling that fullness of your inhale matched by the fullness of your exhale. So just a nice ujjayi breathing where we're slowing things down, kind of banking the channels of your trachea just a little bit. So there's this smooth stream in and a smooth stream out. When you feel ready, try to make a commitment to keeping the breath deep and full through your practice. This will also help a lot of that deeper lymph move, and keeping that fluidity of movement in your lung tissue itself will help clear and keep your lungs free. Let's bring our hands to our heart. And with a deep breath in, offer an intention. Maybe your intentions are about health and well-being. Maybe it's about something very specific. Okay, and release the hands. And let's find our way onto our back. All right, so as you stretch out and lengthen your body, if you want to keep your socks on for the first little bit to stay warm, you can do that. Just whatever works for you. We'll be on the ground just for a little bit, like usual. And let's start with your feet on the ground and put your hands on your low belly or at your diaphragm, wherever you're comfortable. And let's just feel our way into our breath. And feel free to take your feet a little further apart than hip width if that's more comfortable for your body. Just get at ease. With your hands on your abdomen somewhere, just feel your breathing. See if you can bring your breath deeply into your body. So often our breath gets shallow. And if we really are looking for the oxygenation and that deep cleansing of the exhale, where we release what's no longer needed, and that deep movement of the abdomen, which will move a lot of lymph in our center body, the deeper our breath can go, the better. So let's just kind of cue our body for good breathing right here in the beginning. The more our diaphragm moves, the more our organs move, the more our lymph moves. And then imagine, before we start moving the body, that your hands are conduits of healing, and place them anywhere on your body that you need some shoring up, where you need some protection, some nourishment, some healing. Maybe you feel perfectly fine, but maybe your left elbow's hurting or some other area of your body. So if you have a physical area that you'd like to put your hands on, an emotional area that you'd like to put your hands on, just give yourself some healing through your palms. Transmit some healing energy. And then when you're ready, keep the breath moving. Stretch the arms overhead and feel some length in your body. Reach and reach. Stretching one side, stretching the other. Don't forget about your legs. So stretch one heel far away, then stretch the other heel far away. Just getting some subtle little movements through the pelvis, through the side bodies, the arms. Big breaths here. And then we'll draw our knees into the chest. Rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. Okay. Hang on to the knees and let's circle, kind of rolling the knees one direction a few times, letting the back warm up a little bit, roll the knees the other way. And then let's open up the knees away from the midline and bring them back in. So we just get this nice mobility in our hip joints. Okay, just take some time and then see what it feels like. Maybe move a little differently, maybe zigzag or have some different movement in your hip joints. And it can be choppy, it can be fluid, just kind of get some movement in there in whatever way you want. All right, and then right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground, and let's move around in our ankles, wiggling our toes. Our feet have a ton of lymph in them. Because remember, lymph isn't just about, the net of catching infection, but it's also the net of catching debris, cellular debris, and it's also the way we regulate fluids in the body. So if we have some extra fluid pockets anywhere, our lymph is what scoops that up and brings it back up to our collarbones, where it dumps back into the cardiovascular system to be processed properly. So get some movement in your feet, your ankles, free up every little tiny joint you can find. And remember that joint mobility is really good for moving our lymph. Okay. And then switch to the other knee. You have a good compression, straighten that right leg out. Find a different movement, maybe a different kind of sway in your ankles. Just keep moving those feet around in whatever way serves. Rest your head, relax your shoulders. All right, and then we're going to just open and close the knees up a little bit. So pull your right knee in and then pull your left knee in. And as you go back and forth between the two sides, make sure you're also straightening the knee all the way out. Flex the toes and stretch your heel when you straighten that leg, so the back of your knee opens and closes. Start to turn on the fire of your belly. So a little core strength, we're still breathing. Feeling your hips, your knees opening and closing. Long, full breaths. And then put your feet on the ground. Release your hands out to the side like a T. And we'll open and close our fists here a handful of times. Breathing well. And then start to roll the wrists while they're out there. Roll a few times one direction, roll a few times another direction. Wiggle those fingers. And then we'll start to move the knees as well. So turning the knees right, as you do that, turn your head left. So just getting some subtle little mobility in your low back and your hips and your spine. Again, focus on that fullness of your breathing as you rock to and fro. Okay. Stretch open to a star now, reaching the limbs really wide. And then exhale, draw the knees and pick up the head. One more time, expand open. Exhale, close in snug. One more time. To me, this movement is so efficient for moving lymph in your body. Right. Put your feet onto the ground one more time. We'll move the arms and the pelvis. We're going to lift up into a bridge. Hips high, arms come up over your head, and then lower your pelvis and your arms down at your sides. Doesn't have to be your biggest lift of your bridge, but we're just getting some mobility, some strength building through our legs. Ground through your feet, lift your hips, arms overhead, and exhale and release back down. Roll to your side and come up to your hands and your knees. Finding all fours, ground yourself. And let's yield a little bit into the right and then yield a little bit into the left. Just going back and forth between weight bearing into right hand and right knee and then into left hand and left knee. When we weight bear and we rebound, this is also good for our lymph. We have a compression and a release that stimulates some flow. Okay. All right, and then balance onto the four corners of your body and let's move through some cat-cows. If you lost sight of your breath, find it again now. Feeling that full deep inhale followed by the full deep exhale. Let your shoulder blades move. Let your head move. Even your collarbones, can you feel them compress and can you feel them expand? So it's a lot more than just moving your spine. All right, and then wag the tail. Get some nourishment through into your low back a little bit. All right, and then we'll drop back toward a child's pose. Walk the hands far out in front of you, reaching outward. Drop into your sit bones. We're going to do some flowing up onto our shins. So inhale, come up, arms reaching high. Exhale, arms down at your sides, child's pose. Couple of more times. Inhale, arms swoop up. Exhale, arms come down. One more time, rising up. Opening and closing lots of joints. Okay. Feel into that compression of child's pose again. All right, walk your hands out in front of you. Stay in your child's pose. Feel that extension through your armpits, through your shoulders. And we'll walk our hands to one side of the mat, feeling grounding. Drop into your sit bones, breathing. Over to the other side, feeling that reach and length in the body. Settle your sit bones down. Coming back to center, up onto your hands and your knees again. Wag your tail a little bit, and we'll find our twist. Reaching an arm up, let's roll your wrist while you're up here in space. See if you can drain from your fingertips down to your shoulder. Feel the fluid move with gravity. Take a deep breath into your chest, and then exhale and drop that shoulder, twisting. Full breath here, in and out. All right, and then inhale, bring that arm back up in the air, reaching your arm high, and then do it again. Slide under, and then reach high. Big breath in, exhale, slide under, and reach up high. This time when we come under, face the ground, so it's more of a collarbone compression than a twist. Widen collarbones and then settle into that shoulder stretch. Great, and then release the arm one more time up to the sky. Give your wrist a little twirl, and then place that hand down onto the ground. We'll switch sides. Arm up, lifting up to the sky. Give your wrist a little twirl up in the air. Feel that draining of your fingertips down to your shoulder. And then exhale and drop into the twist. Gaze toward the ground, breathing deeply. Enjoy your twist. Full breaths. Let the belly expand. Let the ribs expand. Get some mobility in your torso. And then we'll inhale, reach that arm back up. Exhale, twisting under. Inhale, rising. Exhale, twisting. One more time, rising up. This time, hand underneath you, we face the ground, hips back towards child's pose. Feel that posterior capsule stretch of the shoulder. Feel a sense of compression across the collarbones. Inhale, reach that arm all the way up high. Hand down onto the ground. Turn this into a dog pose. Pedal your feet. The pedaling of your feet is really important for that movement of your lymph. So let's back and forth. Heel down, heel up. Find your breathing. Letting your calves open up. That pumping action in the feet is really truly what helps lymph move. Our muscle contraction and release is what moves lymph. We don't have a heart to pump it. We rely on gravity and we rely on movement, the muscle movement, the joint movement. Big breath here. Find a moment of stillness. Ground yourself. Full breath in. Long breath out. And then walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana. Forward fold. Relax your neck. Give it a little bob if you'd like. Inhale for a halfway lift, extending through the spine. Feel your heart expand forward. And while we're here, bend and straighten your knee. So lift a heel, bend a knee, straighten the other leg, draw that hip back, back and forth. And then maybe even on the leg that straightens, you lift up your toes a little bit off the ground. Just get some movement in your ankles, your feet, your calves, your hips. All right, and then ground. And now while our hands are still on our blocks, let's invert the feet. So come onto the inner feet and come onto the outer feet. Okay, so we'll roll to the inseam and roll to the outseam, letting your ankles get some mobilization in this direction. And then ground the four corners of your feet really well. Settle, soften into an Uttanasana. Relax your head. Grab onto the base of the skull. Maybe a little grounding toward the earth with your hands. And then we'll push through the feet and rise up. We've been down for a while, so if you're dizzy, you know what to do. Squeeze to the midline. Reaching the arms up. Feel that extension. Climb like a ladder, just like we usually do in the beginning of class on the ground. Let's climb like a ladder. Take a deep breath in. Practice open the chest, a big openness across the collarbones. Exhale, compress the collarbones, shoulder blades toward each other. Shoulder blades apart. Inhale, arms up. Big wide cactus, spread your collarbones. Exhale, compress your collarbones, forearms touch. One more time. Big breath in, arms wide, shoulders wide. Exhale, compress. Okay. Stretch your arms straight out in the air. Press some imaginary walls away. And we'll flex the fingers up toward the sky and then flex them down toward the ground. Like you have little tiny wings on the end of your arms. All right, and then do some rolls with your wrists. Go the other way. And then reach the arms, interlace your fingers, press your palms straight up, take your feet a little bit wider, and reach and extend through one side. And then we'll round forward a little bit, and then reach over to the other side. Ground your feet, and then come all the way back up. Release your hands down, give your arms a good shake. Hands shake. Shrug your shoulders, snug up toward your ears, and release. One more time. Up toward your ears, and then release. All right, start to bounce. We're kind of giving the whole inner body a little bit of a shake. Of course, you can come off the ground. If you feel like jumping, you can jump. Okay, and if you want to bounce, you can bounce. I'm in a bouncing mood, not a jumping mood, so that's what I'm going to do, but you do you. Let your arms be very loose. Notice maybe your calves are starting to feel that they're working. That's good. This is that pumping that we want for our lower body lymph. And then pause in stillness. Breathing in. Long breath out. All right, we're gonna do some slapping. Okay, start with your chest. You can take your flat hands or you can kind of scoop your hands, whatever feels good. You can also take fists. Okay, we're starting right at those collarbones, starting at the terminal points. Okay, so kind of just get some smacking around those collarbones right at your chest, top of your chest. Feel free to turn your head and do one side and cough. Feel free to put both hands on the other side of your chest, turn your head and cough. Okay, you got some movement in there. And then move down into your ribs. Okay? You can take loose fists, whatever feels comfortable for you. Okay? Get around to the backs, kind of find your kidneys, find your lower ribs. Okay. Moving down to your belly. Moving to your back. And we're going to go down one leg at a time. The other leg. Do the bottoms of your feet. And then start at the bottom and work your way back up. Go down an arm. Just slapping the skin. Remember, a lot of that lymph lives very superficially. We're getting a lot of stimulation by just smacking ourselves a little bit. Looks a little tucks from your neck. Around your throat. Up around your head. Your face. And then pause. And just notice how you feel. Big breath in. Big breath out. Notice some of that movement. Now just gently, a dry stroke through our arms. We're going to start at our shoulders. The strokes are going up toward our head, but we're moving down the arm as we go. Okay. Remember, you have an underbelly of the arm too. And then eventually full strokes from your hands all the way to your armpit. And then we don't have to do a lot. Switch sides. Start at your shoulder. The strokes are always going toward your heart. And eventually get your whole arm. Remember, you've got an underbelly and a top. All right, and then we'll come to our throat. Stroke down from your skull, like either at your chin and then out to your ears, stroking down the whole time toward your collarbones. And eventually moving to your face, moving to your skull, everything stroking down toward your collarbones. And then again, nice little tapping at your collarbones. Give your hands a shake, bounce one more time. And then we'll start in with the legs. Dropping, the strokes are going up toward the heart, but we're starting it high and then working our way down, stroking up eventually the whole leg. And then switch to the other leg, stroking up toward the heart. All right. And then just notice how you feel. We've barely done any like normal yoga poses, but notice how alive your body might feel. Can you sense your skin and all that superficial tissue right below your skin? Bring your full breath into your body. Deep breath in, stretch open, lean back a little bit of a back bend here. Exhale, lower yourself down, hands come to the earth. A halfway lift, extending through your spine. Exhale to melt. Step back to a dog pose, a long spine here. Extend and open up the body. A deep breath in, come forward into a plank. Push the ground away. Feel that grounding through your torso engage. Remember, muscular strength and mobility moves lymph. Put your knees down, find the ground. Roll your shoulders. Take a deep breath in. Open through your heart cobra. Exhale. Melting back down. Rising up. We'll come back to this position in a little bit and do some diaphragmatic breathing here. But for right now, we're just kind of opening up our spine. Come back up onto all fours. Give your spine a wiggle. And then a back to a child's pose. Open up your back. Inhale up onto your shins again. Arms to the sky. Exhale. And melt. Hands come forward. Dog pose. Full breaths. Lift your right leg up in the air. Stack it open over the left and take a big breath. Square up the hips. Deep breath in. Exhale, knee to your chest, shoulders over wrists. Hug it. Inhale, reach out. Repeat, knee right into the center. Feel that compression. Feel the extension. Last time. Bring that foot all the way through to a lunge. Shake out your wrists. Bring your arms back behind you. Squeeze the back body. Inhale, push through your feet, rising up to a crescent lunge. Feeling that extension in your body. Open things up. Let's cactus. Open the chest here, and then we'll press forward. Up on the in-breath. Exhale, pressing forward. One more time, push through your feet, big breath. Hands come down onto the blocks. Put your back knee on the ground. Open up through your chest here. Feel that hip flexor expand open. Right, grab your blocks, put them on high heights, and we'll come back to a half Hanumasana flex your toes, drop your chin. Inhale, lunging forward. Exhale, half Hanumasana. Lunging forward. Open up the back of that knee. Find your lunge again. Lift your back knee up off the ground. Same thing, but now our leg is, our back knee's off the ground. Straighten the front leg and bend. One last time. Make sure you're breathing. Bring your back foot forward. Fold. A halfway lift here. Extending through the spine. Lift your sit bones. Stretch open the backs of the knees. Exhale. Melting down. Right foot comes back. Find a lunge this side. Ground your legs. Push through your feet. Rising up, a crescent lunge. Don't worry, I won't forget about the planks and the knee to your chest. I know we did that first before. We're going to do it at the end. Feel the heart lift and expand. Take a deep breath in, cactus, open the chest. Exhale, press forward. Rising up, big breaths here. All right, and then we'll bring our hands down onto the ground. Back knee comes down on the earth. You can uncurl your toes if you like, or keep them curled behind you, whatever feels right. Enjoy the hip flexor opening here. And then we'll begin to move here. So I like the blocks on the high height, so I have a lot of space for my spine, but you do you. Okay, we'll start in the lunge, then we'll come back to a half Hanumasana. Drop the hip, drop the chin. Inhale, come forward to a lunge, open the chest. Exhale, back, half Hanumasana. Open the backs of the knee, and then when you lunge, open the throat, lift your chin. Exhale, compress the chin, open the back of the knee. Let's do one more. Finding your lunge, lift your back knee up off the ground, blocks however you like them. Okay. And we'll go ahead and bend and straighten the front knee here. Breathing deeply, opening and closing the legs a little bit, lifting the heart, lifting the chin, dropping the chin. All right. Place the hands down onto the ground. Lift that left leg high in the air. Stack it open the right over the right. Take a big breath here. And then square up the hips again. Straighten that leg. Stretch it. Deep breath in. Knee to chest. Shoulders over wrists. Inhale. Bring it up. Exhale. Bring it in. Find your full breath. Last time, leg up in the air on the in-breath. Exhale, knee to your chest. Put your foot down, dog pose. Ground. Feel the symmetry. Yield. Find your breath again. We'll come forward into a plank. Breathing well. Put your knees on the ground. Find the earth. Take your hands down at your sides, palms facing the ground. Deep breath in, lift everything up, keep the neck long. Shoulder blades down the back. And then exhale. Put your head on your hands, pick up your feet, and windshield wiper your knees. Feel free to rock your forehead on your hands in the opposition of the direction of your feet. Now, this next one, you can either repeat what we just did with our hands down at our sides, or if your body feels comfortable, you can interlace your hands behind your back for a full locust pose. Okay. Take a deep breath in, lift on up, lift everything you can up. Gently bring your chin just slightly forward. Don't lift your whole head, but open your throat just a little bit. Okay. Big full breaths. Make your whole body move. Think about the compression that's happening in your abdomen as your diaphragm is moving. We're moving a lot of lymph in our abdomen. Engage through your back body. The glutes are working, the core is working. All right, and then relax and melt. Bring your arms forward. We'll bring our left knee up high toward our armpit and take a look at that knee. Feel some nice, good compression in the hip joint. Move the blocks out of the way. And then we'll take our right arm, cross it over to the left, and roll open. And we're going to roll here. So close back up, collarbones compress a little bit, and then roll open. Turn your head, expand your collarbones. One more time, roll back. And then this time we'll stay. Okay, breathing into the twist. Expand across your collarbones. Full breath in and out. And then come back to your belly. Lie down, come into a sphinx. Big belly breath. Engaging through the legs. And then we'll change to the other side. We're going to lift our right knee up. Maybe even turn toward that knee. Feeling into that compression in your hip. And then we'll take the twist. Take the left arm, cross it over to the right, roll open. Okay, we'll roll back and forth here. So roll hand over hand, compress the collarbones, and then open them up. Do this with the rhythm of your breathing. Exhale to compress the collarbones, hand over hand. Inhale to open into the twist. Make sure your head is feeling good and comfortable. One last time. Once you're here, pause for a couple of breaths. Let your head relax. Open your collarbones and breathe. All right, roll back onto your belly. Come up onto all fours. Move your spine around. Release all that back bending. Maybe a cat-cow feels good. Maybe a child's pose feels good. Maybe just wiggling around feels good. Just take a moment to release your spine. And then we're going to come up to stand. If you'd like to come through a dog pose, great. If you'd like to just come up to stand, great. You find your way. Push through your feet. Rising up tall. Hands to your heart. Find your breath one more time. Take your feet wide apart on the mat, so turn sideways on your mat. Elbows inside your knees. Let's just open up the inner thighs a little bit here. Ground yourself. Okay. Inhale, arms come up wide. Exhale, goddess pose. start to play with the eagle arms. We're gonna do eagle pose next. All right, this time just stay for a moment and little tiny pulses. Ground through your feet. And then a standing star. Big breath. Exhale, release the hands and walk the feet back to neutral Tadasana. If you need support for an eagle pose, you can stick your butt against a wall. You can always do this with your arms instead of the cross. If this is too much on your shoulders, you can always just cross your hands to the opposite shoulders. Our idea here is to find some compression at the armpits, some compression at the collarbones, some compression at the groins and the backs of the knees. So we'll stand rooted into our right foot. Left leg over right. You can stick your butt against a wall if you need some balance. Take the arm position, right arm over left. Either cross hands to shoulders or touch hands in traditional eagle. Squat down and squeeze. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Flex your feet. Take a deep breath in. Full breath out. And then we'll push open into a standing star. Let all that compression release. Big flow. And then release the hands down. A little bit of a bounce. Standing on the left leg. We'll cross the right leg over. Left arm is on top. Drop down. And, if you need balance help, stick your butt against the wall. This isn't about the balance today. It's about the lymph. Squeeze what you can. Behind the knees, in the groins, armpits, elbows. Full breaths. And then unwind the posture, a standing star. And then release the arms down. Okay, give your hands a little bit of a shake. Maybe a little bit of a bounce. Maybe a little bit of a shake through your legs. Maybe a wiggle. Oh. All right. So we're going to do some diaphragmatic breathing and then a lion's breath. So we're going to start by leaning over, lock your elbows a little bit so you're just nice and steady. And you can do this one of two different ways, your choice, yogi's choice. And so you can either do like a bellows breath where you're exhaling to pull your navel in, inhaling to release your belly out. So like that. You can do that with the breath, where we exhale in and inhale out, and exhale in and inhale out, or exhale all your air out, hold your exhale, and do that pumping with your abdomen with no breath for a few times, and then release it and stand up and take a breath. So play with either one of those, whichever makes you feel better, whichever kind of gives you that. What I'm looking for now is like diaphragmatic movement to kind of just jiggle all the lymph in your abdomen. So don't worry about, I don't know how to do this right or anything like that. The most important thing you're doing is just moving your belly. Okay, so your choice. I'm going to do the exhale, hold. So deep breath in, exhale, hold my exhale, tuck my chin and pump my belly. And whatever you're doing, just do a little bit more. Okay. And then we'll all finish by standing up. And we're going to do some standing lion's breath. So you can do a few things. So remember lion's breath. We stick our tongue out and pull our tongue down. We look up with our eyes. We make lots of noise. You can do this by pushing your hands forward and spreading your fingers or out to the side, or you can squat and put your hands on your thighs and do it. However is going to give you that expression of "wah" as best as you can. Deep breath in. Exhale. Wah. I feel silly because I can't hear you. I'm just hearing myself. So make as much noise as you can. Deep breath. Stick that tongue out. Look up. Wah. Try it in a different position. If you're leaning over, try a different way. Deep breath in. Wah. All right, one last time. Wah. All right, not silly. I always feel silly doing it by myself. It's much better in company. Okay. All right, one last little jiggle through your body. Just shake out anything that you want to get rid of. Just give it a good shake. Get it out of your body. Say out. No, you are not welcome here. All right. And then we'll come on to our back. And we have a supported bridge to do before we rest. So while this is restful, grab a block. We'll come up onto the pelvis on 1, 2 blocks, whatever is comfortable for you. Just make sure it's across your sacrum. Climb onto the tops of your shoulders. That's an important piece today. Get the collarbones broad and wide. Full breaths here. Full inhale, full exhale. All right, and then when you're ready, we're going to turn this into a leg up the wall pose. And if you feel like it, you can abandon ship here and just go to an actual wall and prepare for Shavasana. And you can do your Shavasana with your legs up a wall. Great pose for your lymph. So I recommend Shavasana that way today, even if you're here now. Finding your breath. Just allowing that sense of all the lymph draining from your feet all the way to the terminal endpoints at your collarbones. The thoracic duct, the vessels, the lymph vessels at your collarbones just drain right back into your cardiovascular system, into the venous blood return. So this is good. We want any extra fluids in our body to be swept up by the blood. We want all the cellular debris, all the things that are no longer needed in the body, any trapped viruses or bacteria that have been caught in the net of your lymph nodes. We want all of that to drain into our cardiovascular system. So our liver and our kidneys and our out breath can release what's no longer needed in our body. Okay. Put your feet down, get off your block. Do whatever you need to prepare for Shavasana. Maybe you want to twist or a happy baby or anything at all. So if there's something your body needs, you go do what you need. And then again, if you'd like to put your legs up for Shavasana, I'm going to put my legs up on my couch. You can put them up on a chair or a couch or just on bolsters. You can put them up, your legs up a wall. So whatever position feels comfortable for you. And then let's remember that the lymph likes warmth. So perhaps you want a blanket over you for Shavasana. So whatever, you can also just be lying flat. There's no rules that you have to have your legs up. But when we do have our legs above our heart, it facilitates the fluid return. All right, so as you get into your comfortable position, maybe you're still doing a couple of stretches that feel good in your body. Take your time. And when you find Shavasana, return to the breath. A full deep inhale, full deep exhale. Melt your body as best as you can. When you feel ready, begin to deepen your breathing. And try to remember that if you're starting to feel under the weather, one of the very best things that you can do is Shavasana, the gift of conscious nourishment, conscious rest is really truly a gift. So you can come into this position anytime through the day if you need a refreshment for a few minutes. Take a deep breath in and stretch and lengthen your body. Find your breath. Find a little bit of movement and then roll to your side. And also remember to drink a lot of water after class today, kind of flushing out the body. Okay, come to a comfortable seat. And again, find your breathing as you come to sit up. Let's bring our hands to our heart and offer health and wellness outward, inward, and outward. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Be well.